What up, though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me while I do my 10,000 steps today in Midtown Detroit. I'm over here by my old college getting these steps in. And y'all know I talked to y'all a bit about voting, learning issues, and voting on them. Stop sitting back and just letting whatever happen. Stop sitting back and letting other people decide things for you and playing no part whatsoever in who's being elected, in what's gonna happen. You know, we got the whole Dolton situation as a forever reminder of what happens when you don't vote, when you don't know who's being elected, and when you just become complacent letting other people make decisions for you. You end up getting a really raw deal. And in some cases, there'll be a vote for something that's going to change in your community. And the people may try to be tricky about choosing times that they think people aren't going to actually come out to vote. And I can give you an example of it real quick before I get into Tiffany Henyard's latest silliness. But there was a situation over here where they wanted to build a municipal complex. And it's actually being built right now. Actually, no, it actually just was completed. So it's open now. I see cars parked outside of there when I go stepping. But people didn't want it over here. Why didn't they want it over here? There's several schools over here. There's several parks over here. People own really nice condominiums and homes over here. And they just really didn't want that type of complex over here that would attract criminals. And oftentimes when you got criminals, you got their, friends and family that in many cases, not all, are of similar ratchet ilk. So the criminals are already coming over to your neighborhood. That's really nice. You don't want them there. And the people who they deal with on the regular, that in many cases, let's just be for real here, aren't very sterling of character themselves. They're coming over to show support or whatever you want to call it. So they're coming over. And it just really isn't a good look for the area as a whole to have something like that over here. It brings down property values. It's just not a very good look. So they held a community meeting for people to come out and vote on it. The turnout was amazing. So many people came out to vote against this. They wanted nothing to do with that municipal center being built. They saw the turnout, but they weren't gonna just let that stop them. So they employed some trickery. They had another meeting on a different day in the evening, because the first one was in the evening, so people are off from work and stuff. So that was why the turnout was as massive as it was. They had another one of those meetings around the same time on a different night. Well, a lot less people showed up for it the second time because people have jobs, they have responsibilities, they have other commitments going on in their lives. They don't have the time to keep showing up to these sorts of things, and they know that. That's why they did that. This was a strategy. So more people showed up. They did another meeting. Less people showed up, rather, for the second time. They did another one. Even less people showed up. And then they did the ultimate trick, was to have another meeting, but change the time. This time, it wasn't in the evening. This time, they had it during work hours, the 9 to 5 work hours, where they knew most people would not be able to attend. So what do you think happened? They held the meeting, they did the vote, they got it passed because it wasn't enough people to contest it. So this is what happens when you don't stand firm against, silly stuff. When it comes to things happening in your community, things happening in terms of politics, you have to push back against these sorts of things. And we pushed back at first, but they kept changing the rules of the game. So in whatever fight it is that you take on, you have to see it through to the end. They knew eventually that if they kept setting the meeting, less and less and less people would, show up for it, to where now forever, that municipal center that's over there, they got their way. It's there. It's not going anywhere. It's never going to be torn down. It's here forevermore. And the very thing that people didn't want over here impacting the area is now here to stay. So know what it is that's going on, and vote. People who employ trickery, like with that, you have to get rid of those people, because they knew that this was not to serve the community. They knew that the community didn't want this sort of thing, and they employed trick tactics to get around it anyway. When someone who you voted in office pulls a move like that, you show them just how much you didn't appreciate it by getting rid of they behind when the next election cycle comes up. So Tiffany Henyard, who is the mayor of Dolton and also a supervisor in another county, it looks like, she ended up getting those positions based on the fact that people really didn't look into her too much. They really didn't know too much about her, and she just ended up with enough votes to be mayor or something of the like. And in terms of being appointed supervisor, I don't know how that went, about how she got in that, but she basically took advantage of two different situations where people weren't looking too closely, and now they're stuck with her until they don't have to be anymore. So all of this, where does it tie into? It's more foolery with her, but her reign is almost up. She had some sort of meeting with her trustees. Well, it ended up being two meetings. There was one meeting that she was actually at that she can control, and then there was another meeting with the gentleman that I suppose can act in her place if she's not around. So he was there sitting in the middle of that one. Her meeting, only 2 trustees showed up for, and she thanked the 2 trustees who did show up. I'm assuming these 2 trustees, they might be in her pocket some sort of way, or owe her favors in some sort of way, because she thanked them for coming. The other 4, though, were at the other meeting with the guy that can act in her place when she's absent. She ended up coming to that late after shutting down her own meeting, but she couldn't shut that one down because she wasn't in charge of that one. But she probably would have if she could have. But she immediately goes to sit in the spot where the gentleman is, and he displays, just a level of calmness and just grace. He gets up from the chair. He's not, aggressive in any manner. Just very calm, very chill. He gets up and gives her the chair, which we know if the shoe was on the other foot, she would not have done that. She would have been like, how dare you even come over here expecting me to get up if the shoe was on the other foot. But he gets up. She says something about she's there to, elect certain people. She's here to pick certain people. She ends up being booed by the community that's there, which that was very interesting. The people of the village of Dolton, they seem to really be more and more and more, as time goes on, express disdain towards her. And it's deservedly so. She's done a lot of really underhanded stuff to where she's brought this on herself. But she ended up getting on up out of there because of the way she was received. Surprisingly enough, she didn't play the victim card, because she tends to do that a lot. She does many things to bring ire on herself, and then pretends like she has no idea why people are acting this way towards her, why people don't like her. She has no clue. It must be because she's a single black mom. I kid you not. This is where she always goes. But her community is mostly African American, so you really can't play that card. Though she's tried to, she really can't play that card. But I always find it interesting when people, that's immediately where they go. They do some silly stuff, and when they get held accountable, that's immediately where they want to go. It can't be because you have shit character, it's because you're a black single mom. That's why they're doing all this. It has nothing to do with the shady, underhanded things that you're doing. It has nothing to do with the fact that you paid $150,000 for a Tahoe with taxpayer money. What an absurd cost. $150,000 for a mere Tahoe? I mean, that is insane. That you didn't even try to negotiate a better price when you paid that. Like, if you're paying $150,000 for a Tahoe, they marked your stuff up. Well, not marked. They gouged your price on purpose because they knew you would just pay it without any sort of pushback. So there's no way you're paying $150,000 for a Tahoe and you just think that's okay. Unless, well, you think that sort of thing is okay when it's not really your money. When it's not your money, you don't really care about getting a bargain, getting any sort of better deal, getting any sort of discounts. Like, dang, I'm the mayor. Can I get some sort of, concession for this? No, they really put the screws to her. Well, technically, the taxpayers, because not a cent of this is coming out of her own pocket. But that's where it's at with Tiffany Henyard. It's looking like the election for Dolton is going to be coming up soon, and the gentleman that was there that gave up his seat for her is going to be the favorite to win. So kudos to the people there. It looks like that this nightmare that they've been having to live is on its way to its conclusion. They're not going to have to deal with this too much longer. One can only hope. It's not over, though. I promise y'all, it's not over. Just the sort of person that Tiffany Henyard has displayed herself to be, she is going to make some more drama before she exits. Mark my words, it's not over. She's going to do a few more really goofy things before she leaves. She's not going to leave quietly. Don't think that for a second. She's going to leave being belligerent and defiant to the bitter end, just because they have the audacity to not want a scammer as their mayor. So I'm gonna leave it there. Appreciate y'all connecting with me. Thumbs up this video, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna talk to y'all soon. Peace.